Before finishing up this presentation, I would just like to perhaps hint at a few ways in which you might go about objecting to the arguments made by Nathanson or Vendenhog. In regards to Stephen Nathanson's argument, let's focus for a moment on proportionality retributivism. I sometimes wonder how strong of a theory proportionality retributivism is. One potential problem with proportionality retributivism is that, as Nathanson points out, it does not require any specific punishments for particular crimes, right? The punishments are determined through the process of setting up the scales of crime and punishment and corresponding or correlating those two scales together. But because no specific punishments are required, that also means that no specific punishments are automatically left off the scale of punishment either. So I just wonder if perhaps proportionality retributivism leaves the door open for punishments such as torture, or punishments that would otherwise be considered cruel and unusual. If a society determines that the appropriate punishment for a particular crime is torture, how do we show that they're wrong? We cannot just say, oh, well, that's not equal to the crime that was committed, because proportionality retributivism isn't based on equality. It's based on proportionality. So if a society believes that torture is the proportional or proportionate punishment for a particular crime, how do we show that they're wrong? I don't know if there's a way to do that or not. Perhaps another possible objection to Nathanson's argument, or any abolitionist argument for that matter, is that somehow there is a lack of fairness in allowing a murderer to live, whereas that murderer's victim is dead. Why should a murderer be able to reap the benefits of life, even if it's life in prison? They can still make meaningful experiences in prison. Why should a criminal get to reap the benefits of life when the innocent victim does not get those benefits? Perhaps there is a lack of balance there in terms of morality. Let's shift over to Vendenhog's argument for a second. In general, you might want to argue that the practical aspects of the death penalty are not so easily separable from the theoretical aspects of the death penalty. As I indicated, Vendenhog seems to want to separate the theory from the practice, and you might challenge him on that. Furthermore, I think there may be a conflict between the responses that Vendenhog gives to the miscarriages of justice objection and the deterrence objection. Go back to those responses that he gives to those objections and focus on what he says about the lives of innocent victims, right? Or I should say maybe the value of innocent members of society, not criminals, but the innocent members of society. There may be a conflict between his responses in terms of the value that those innocent members of society hold. On the one hand, he seems to indicate that innocent members of society have great value and indispensable value, but then on the other hand, he almost makes it seem as if innocent lives are dispensable. So see if you can kind of work that out on your own. But as I said, there are a few hints as to ways in which you could object to each of our authors in this section.